Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country. So nice to have you with us on a Monday night, and so nice to welcome a country music legend to the show tonight. One of my very favorite people to talk to. The last time she was on our show, we did a radio debut for her new album, An American Classic, and we had such a great conversation. Well, tonight she's got a brand new single from that album and also a brand new, previously unreleased album with Jack Greene. And we're going to play a whole bunch of those cuts for you tonight and talk to her about it. It is a pleasure to welcome the Grand Ole Opry star Jeannie Seely to My Kind of Country. Seely, how are you tonight?
I am doing great, Scott. It's always great to be back with you, and you do such a phenomenal job. You think of things that I wouldn't even have thought about. So it's always a joy to talk to you.
Well, you've had such a stellar career. There's always a lot to draw from, and I always think of things after we're done too that I could have asked. So hopefully, I'm going to cut them all tonight.
Right. Well, we'll try to cover as much as we can in it. I'm still feeling so blessed to be able to still do the things that I love doing so much, and for so many opportunities that are still coming my way. It's just astounding to me.
That's wonderful, and you're sounding fantastic. And I know this latest album that you did with Curb Records has gotten so much great attention. You've had so many great singles, including the new one that they just released, So Far So Good, and this has got the Whites singing with you on it, right?
Yeah, I was excited about this too. I said, I can't think of a better way to start off a new year than this single that is so up-tempo, so positive, saying so far so good. So we're hoping maybe that will be the anthem for 2022, that we'll all be doing so far so good.
Amen to that. That's for sure. It is a fun song, real up tempo, and I love it. Is that Tim Atwood playing piano on that?
No, it's not. And there were two different piano players, and I would have to go back and look to see who. Gary Prim was one of them, but they were all musicians, top-of-the-line musicians that Don Cusick, my producer, chose. But I loved the work they did. Of course, I was very thrilled to have my Opry sisters, Sharon and Cheryl White, on this. And I've always had a thing I loved. I think it has kind of a 40s swing feel, if you will. And, of course, I grew up, and when I was a kid, that was an early influence. My mother loved all the big band sounds, and I still do. But there was a thing I always liked from that era where the vocals would sing unison a line and then they would spread into harmony. So when I mentioned to Sharon and Cheryl, I said, "Can you do that with me?" And they're like, "Oh, that is so fun to do." So we had such a good time in the studio with it, and I love them, and their voices are so great.
I want to mention something here, and a lot of folks don't even realize that you're not in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and I really hope that we get to see you in there because you certainly deserve it, not only with all the wonderful music you've done, but all the songs you've written and your continued presence on the Grand Ole Opry and what you do for country music. So I'd like to just put that out there, and I hope that whoever's listening the powers that be will make that happen, because you should be in the Country Music Hall of Fame, Jeannie.
Well, I thank you for that, Scott. And of course, that would be a thrill of a lifetime if that happens. And I think I've just been around so long and so obvious that a lot of people think I'm already in there. And another thing, when I was inducted into the Walk of Fame, Walkway of Stars, downtown Nashville, a lot of people thought that was induction into the Hall of Fame. So there was a little confusion there. So, but yeah, if it could happen, I'd really like for it to happen while I'm able to be present. I would rather be able to be present and use this as a platform to, to mentor others, if you will, and participate in things. I'd rather do that than just be a plaque on the wall.
Sure. Well, I know you've always done that for new artists, and and I know that was done for you when you started on the opera. With people like Ernest Tubb, and they gave you a helping hand. You've certainly turned that around and done that with a lot of artists, and continue to on the Opry. I'm interested in your opinion of how the Grand Ole Opry has changed, both for the good and for the worse, with what's been happening with the pandemic. I know the show format's changed quite a bit. What's your take on all that?
Well, of course, you're always, when you love the Opry, you are against any changes because you're always so afraid that it's going to change, the Opry itself. And I think all of us who love it, from fans, hear it from the fans too, and that I've got a darn call coming in here that's driving me crazy. But when the fans criticize any changes, it's just mostly because they don't want to spoil a wonderful thing. We all know that things change with times, and Circle TV coming in, that's been, I think, both a blessing and a curse in some ways. It's a blessing because it's able to carry the Opry all over the world, certainly a much wider audience than we would have otherwise.
Sure.
Along with that, as always, there are certain restrictions. So I think, as with anything, with something good on one side, there's always a little downside to it. But overall, I think they're doing the best they can to keep it going in a changing market. And what's driving the Opry a lot and other programming is just like recordings. It's a streaming world out there now. Mm-hmm. Everything is judged by streams.
Right. And I know that you're a fellow DJ too, and you do a wonderful show called Sundays with Seelys on Sirius XM Radio.
Oh my goodness, talk about blessings. That was just such a gift to me. I never even thought about doing that, and they had called me. How I auditioned without knowing it. They had asked me to speak at a roast for Charlie Monk, which of course I was delighted. Anytime I can fire a shot at Charlie Monk, I love it. And so anyway, there were some fun moments there, and when he would try to holler something back at me, I was just able to come back at him. And the powers that be with Sirius XM were there, and they said they were wanting to add more female presence to the Roadhouse, and said if she can think on her feet that quick, we want her on the Roadhouse. So that's how it came about. I am absolutely thrilled. It is so wonderful to hear, and you've heard this, you've spent a career, it's got to be nice to you. You go, say, the supermarket, and somebody say, I sure enjoyed listening to your show the other night, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's just a good reward. That's the upside of technology. As we said, there's a downside. And as far as the mentoring of the young people coming in, one of the reasons I've always tried to do that is, like you say, to pay back. I always try to treat people the way I've been treated, the good part. And but the other thing is, I love our music business, our country music world so much, and especially the Grand Ole Opry. My heart has always been there and always will be. So it's just important to me to try to help mentor the young people to make sure this wonderful music and Opry tradition lives on. And the ones that come in that already know the history and appreciate it, it's wonderful to welcome them. And the ones that are coming in that really aren't that familiar, they can't know unless some of us help them learn.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
What I try to do.
Yeah, very important. That's wonderful. Well, folks, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to play the new single from Jeannie's album, an American classic. It's called So Far So Good, featuring the Whites, and then we're going to come back and talk to Jeannie about a brand new project that's just been released with Mr. Jack Greene. So stay with us as My Kind of Country continues. And Jeannie's website, folks, is jeannieseely.com. And of course, she's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, all those great places. And there is also a great Facebook page I hope you'll get involved with called Induct Jeannie Seely into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Here is So Far So Good, and we'll be back to talk with Seely in just a moment.
Darling, since we met, I don't regret one single step we've made. We're taking it slow and we both know that's the way to make love stay. 'Cause people who rush in find it's a crush when it don't turn out like it should. So we'll stay where we are 'cause we like it so far. So far, so good. We both feel the passion inside, and our love is easy to see. Taking one step at a time, we'll know if it's meant to be. 'Cause people who rush in find it's a crush when it don't turn out like it should. So we'll stay where we are 'cause we like it so far. So far, so good. We both feel the passion inside, and our love is easy to see. Taking one step at a time, we'll know if it's meant to be. 'Cause people who rush in find it's a crush when it don't turn out like it should. So we'll stay where we are 'cause we like it so far. So far, so good.
All right, we are talking with Grand Ole Opry legend Jeannie Seely here on My Kind of Country. So nice to have you here tonight, Jeannie. Thanks for taking the time.
Well, we appreciate the invitation to come back, and let me just say we appreciate how not only you support me, but the support you give all of the artists in country music, and it is so appreciated. Just wanted you to know that.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
that.
talked about, Scott. You are talked about.
Well, hopefully in a good way.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to mention another song. Speaking of newer artists that are doing great country music, Joe Wade Smith and Diane Barry just recorded a song that you wrote, and it's called "Yours." Have you heard that?
Oh, my goodness, yes. I'm so proud of that. Diane played guitar in my band years ago. We've been friends a long time. And when I first wrote this song, we were at a demo session. And I remember thinking as I listened to it, I thought, this needs a prettier voice than mine. And so I asked Diane, I said, would you want to put this down for me? So she said, yeah. So when we finished the demo, she said, would you hold it for me for a while and see if I can use this to get a deal? So I said, well, sure, So I waited, and truthfully, life happens, and I simply forgot about the song. And it was so weird because the played it, WSM, I guess, played it. I had done it on the Opry. Danny Davis, my bass player, heard it, and he said, why are we not doing this song? I said, oddly enough, Danny, I have that on the list for when we go back in the studio, because I'm getting ready to record again. I've written some new things. And about that time, Diane called me and said, I want you to hear something. So it was just like this record, this song was meant to show up about now. But I think they do an awesome job. But, yeah, they're great singers, and their voices blend very well.
They do. They sing so well together. We debuted that on the radio for them a few weeks ago, and they did a whole Facebook live stream and had a video on there of me playing the song, and it was really cool. We had fun with that.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Well, they're just much more technology. I'm still technology challenged, Scott. You have to bear with me.
I'd like to be in somebody's arms, somebody's arms like yours.
I'd like to be hearing someone say I love you, and I'd like those words to be yours.
I'd like to know I'm in someone's plans, someone with plans like yours.
Then I put my life and my love in their hands, and I'd be happy if those hands were yours. 'Cause yours are the kisses that make me grow weak. Yours is the name that I speak in my sleep. Kisses that make me grow weak. Yours is the name that I speak in my sleep. I'd like to be someplace with you, someplace like my place or yours. I want to belong to someone like you. Oh, please help me. I just want to be yours.
Well, there is a brand new, previously unreleased album that's just come out from our friends at Country Rewind Records, and that's countryrewindrecords.com. And our buddy Tom Gramugli, I always mess up his last name, has produced and released so many of these great recordings that were released originally for radio shows back in the 1970s for people like the Navy Hoedown and the United States Air Force. And they were only released for those shows, and they've never been heard. And he's now re-releasing these songs and adding some instrumentation, and they sound so fresh and so fantastic. And one of those is a brand new project that you did, Jeannie, with Jack Greene.
Oh, my goodness. When they first called me about this, first of all, I had no idea those masters were still around. So I was really surprised about it, but also just so thrilled that they work was worthy because they're doing some great work with these old masters. And so I was glad they chose our project. And, of course, it brought back wonderful memories with Jack. We had a show together for 11 years on the road, recorded several albums. And so, it was kind of fun for me to hear this.
Well, there's some solo songs by each of you and then some duets. There's 15 songs on here, and the album is called Together Again. It's just been released, and you can pick that up at any places that sell music. And, of course, CountryRewindRecords.com. We'll have that information on our Facebook page. And, Jeannie, you did obviously some of your hits, but you also did some cover songs that I'd never heard you do before. And one of the ones that I really want to mention, because I think you absolutely blew it out of the water, I was just mesmerized when I heard it. Merle Haggard had a hit on it back in the 70s, and I know Dave Kirby wrote it. It's called The Sidewalks of Chicago.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite songs, and I think when I was listening to that recording, I think I was very emotionally involved that day with that song. So my mind goes back and I think, okay, what was going on right then that I identified with that so much?
Oh, you did a beautiful job. I mean, I was completely mesmerized. I had to listen to it about 3 times in a row. I was just blown away by how you did the song, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to play that for our listeners tonight so they can hear it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
These Levi's that I'm wearing have been good to me. They just won't admit they're growing old. And this coat that I'm wearing may be secondhand, but at least it keeps my body from the cold. Thank God the folks back home in Harlan County can't see what success has done for me. Would you believe the kids in Harlan High School voted me most likely to succeed?
Now I'm walking on the sidewalks of Chicago.
If I buy the bread, I can't afford the wine.
Now I'm walking on the sidewalks of Chicago, wishing I had lived some other time.
Just swept me right off my feet, and he stayed just long enough to make me love him. And now they're sweeping me up off the street. My mama thinks I've really hit the big time, and she's written every day since I've been gone. But she doesn't know that 109 Charlotte is the address of the West Side Mission Home.
Now I'm walking on the sidewalks of Chicago.
If I buy the bread, I can't afford the wine.
Now wishing I had lived some other time. Walking on the sidewalks of Chicago, wishing I had lived some other time.
When you recorded these, I know these were all done in a studio, and did you use your touring musicians on these recordings?
No, we didn't. If I recall right, they had some sets. It depends on who was doing it, and we did several different ones of this. And my goodness, I can't remember his name now, but Marvin Hughes. I remember being in the studio doing some of these with Marvin Hughes, and each of these producers would have their clique of musicians they were used to working with. And often, too, on these things, Jack and I were so busy during then. I mean, we'd come in off the road, and it's right into the studio and doing these things. And, of course, all these went through really fast. If you notice, some of them, we just did the song straight through, and that was it, trying to get more music into it, I think, more songs included.
Yeah.
So the arrangements were a little different. But, no, I don't think we ever got to take our musicians in at that time.
Well, they certainly sound great. And, of course, you've got some great duets with Jack on here. Of course, you did Love Is No Excuse. And nice
One
little...
of my favorites.
Yeah.
I just love that song.
I think Justin Tubb wrote that song, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. And I was just talking about it the other day. I think I'll start doing that on the Opry. I've started doing a thing, I don't know if you've noticed, on my segment, now that we're doing segments rather than an artist host like we were before the shutdown. I'm trying to always open with something really up, and then I'm go to a traditional shuffle, if you will, and I often am commenting, I feel like after being in the Opry as long as I've been, in my position now is to kind of make sure that traditional country music is represented there for those who love it and for those that maybe aren't that sure about what it is. A lot of the younger people are discovering traditional country right now.
Amen.
So that's kind of what I feel my position there is now.
Love is no excuse for what we're doing, for we both know that two hearts could break. We tell ourselves it's 'cause we love each other, but love is no excuse for us to make. Sure, we love each other, and it could be so right,
But not if someone else has got to pay.
our love for each other looks good in the night, but our love can never see the light of day. It's been going on for much too long now, and our wrongs have mounted one by one. We tell ourselves we've got to have each other, but love is no excuse for what we've done.
Yeah, one of the things that struck me funny on this, as I recall hearing it, tell me if I'm wrong, but on this Great Speckled Bird, it wasn't God who made honky tonk angels. I think Jack sang the wrong part at first.
You're right.
The way we used to do it on the road, he would start with the Wild Side of Life. Then I would come in with It Wasn't God Who Made Honky Tonk Angels, and then as a group, we would do the Great Speckled Bird. I think he started singing the Great Speckled Bird. I don't think the Wild Side of Life's even on there. And nobody ever evidently noticed it. We didn't notice it at the time until I heard it. I'm like laughing. It just brought back the humor of the time. And
what a beautiful thought I am thinking concerning a great speckled bird. Remember her name is recorded on the pages of God's holy word. Desiring to lower her standards, they watch every move that she makes. They long to find fault with her teaching, but really they find no mistake.
Jukebox playing your song about my wild side of life. As I listen to the words you are saying, it brings memories when I was a trusting wife. It wasn't God who made honky-tonk angels, as you said in the words of your song. Too many times married men think they're still single. That has caused many a good girl to go wrong.
What a beautiful thought I am thinking concerning the great speckled bird. Remember her name is recorded on the pages of God's holy word. Holy word.
And of course, Wish I Didn't Have to Miss You was on here. A great version of that. How did you and Jack first get together and start recording?
well, we were both on Ernest Tubbs' television show, and of course he had come out of Ernest Tubbs' Troubadours and recording on his own. About that time, Willie Nelson left and went back to Texas. He was a featured male vocalist, and Lois Johnson was the featured female vocalist, and she had eye surgery and had to take time off. So about that time, Jack moved into the male vocalist role and me the female. Well, that was early, real early television. They had a lot of technical breakdowns, and so there was a lot of time of just sitting around waiting for them to get cameras, lights, or whatever was the problem fixed. And as always, somebody just got a guitar. and we'd start singing. That's where we realized that our voices both had the raspy quality, and that our voices really blended well. So that's where it actually started. And then about that little while after that, we were thinking about leaving Monument Records. We didn't feel like we were getting the representation we needed at the time. Fred had a lot of things going on, not criticizing, but you can only do so much. And so anyway, we were going to make a label change, and Jack was on Decca. And so that's when the decision was made. Because that was the trend then. Conway, Loretta, Bill Anderson, Jan Howard, Porter, Dolly. And so that was just a trend. And so we jumped on the trend. And that's when I went to Decca and we started recording.
Yeah. How was it balancing a solo career and a duet career at the same time? Did you find that there was some conflict as far as competing for the charts and touring and stuff like that?
Well, we figured out early on there was no way to coordinate, different things. So that's when we put the whole package together and just booked it as that. Stuff. And I think looking back, it probably did hurt both of us in our individual careers too, because we focused on the duet.
Mm-hmm.
So we realized later on that to salvage any independence, we had given it the run it needed. We needed to go back to focus on our own careers.
Sure.
But that trend was gone too. The people weren't traveling like that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I kind of get the impression listening to this album that these songs were kind of a representation of what your live show was like at that time.
Oh, absolutely. I wish we could have used our own guys, but actually Paul has done a great job in the background vocals that he added. By adding Nora Lee, who was there as background singer at the Opry, so she was aware of the sound Jack and I brought in with our whole group, and actually sang with us on a lot of the stuff at the Opry. So I think that helped pull in our sound too. But yeah, as like the Sidewalks of Chicago, my arrangement was way different. As you know, Jack and I did our show a little bit different, and we kind of pushed the limits, if you will, a little bit. And we were able to take our show into some dinner theaters and places that country music hadn't gone before.
When the chain of love is broken, its pieces scattered all around. Hasty search for reason. Sometimes a link cannot be found. I say you're wrong, you say it's my fault. You saw it coming all along. We've lost of understanding. Our chain of love can't last long. This chain of love we piece together with the link of understanding gone. The link of patience must work overtime. Our chain of love can't last long. It seems so unfair this should happen. Two hearts chain of love can't last long. This chain of love we piece together with the ring of understanding gone. The ring of patience must work overtime. Our chain of love can't last long. Our chain of love can't last long. Monday morning and I'd best be on my way. Got a feeling it will be a busy day, doing something I'm not looking forward to. Wish I didn't have to miss you. Broke the clock because I wound it up too tight. Lucky me, I didn't sleep a wink last night, so I was up on time to do what I must do. Wish I didn't have to miss you. One lose glasses that I'm seeing through, because I'm seeing everything but you, everything but you. Now it's Sunday and I may go for a hike, cause when it's Sunday it'll be Sunday day and night. Red is red and black is black and blue is blue. I didn't have to miss you. One news passes that I'm seeing through, because I'm seeing everything but you, everything but you. Now it's Sunday and I may go for a hike, cause when it's Sunday it'll be Sunday day and night. Red is red and black is black and blue is blue. Wish I didn't have to miss you. Wish I didn't have to miss you.
There's some great songs on here. I know you did some Willie songs. You did Mr. Record Man, which is one of my favorite Willie Nelson songs. I love that song. And Our Chain of Love, too. That was another one I think that Willie wrote that you and Jack did together.
Mr. Record Man is the one that and one of my early records with Monuments, what made me popular with steel guitar players. They all liked the steel guitar that Buddy Emmons played, Mr. Record Man, and the other one was Welcome Home to Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
On my record. And a lot of the steel players were aware of me simply because of Buddy Emmons' sound on my records.
Oh, I love that song, too. That's Hank Cochran wrote that one, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Mr. Record Man, I'm looking for a song I heard today. There was someone blue singing about someone who went away. Just like me, her heart was breaking, and I wondered, could there somewhere be another lonely girl like me? There was something about a love that didn't treat her right, and she'd wake from troubled sleep and cry his name all night. Mr. Record Man, oh, get this record for me, won't you please? It's a lonely song about a lonely girl. about a love that didn't treat her right. And she'd wake from troubled sleep and cry his name all night. Mr. Record Man, oh, get that record for me, won't you please? It's a lonely song about a lonely girl like me. I'd just like to see your face tonight if you come home. I'd like to see just how you face the cold, unknown alone. I'd like to know just how you feel in your unfeathered nest. I'd like to, but I can't wish you the best. Welcome home to nothing. Welcome home to no one. My tears have made the wings you clipped grow fast. Welcome home to nothing. Welcome home to no one. The bird you jailed has learned to fly at last. I can't believe I have been a cuckoo for so long, staying round and shining up your throne while you were gone, waiting for you to come in so I could fall down on my knees. I'm gonna hang this big sign when I leave. Welcome home to nothing. Welcome home to no one. My tears have made the wings you clipped go fast. Welcome home to nothing. Welcome home to no one. The bird you jailed has learned to fly at last.
And of course, there's some great solo hits. Jack Greene's, of course, "There Goes My Everything," written by the great Dallas Frazier, who just passed away here recently. And "All the Time" is on here. And of course, "Don't Touch Me." You did a beautiful job on that, and it's just a fabulous album all around.
Yeah. Well, and I've just noticed I pulled up the album so I can look at it as we're talking. Help Me Make It Through the Night was always one of my favorite songs to sing, and I always talked about Sammy. And that was one reason why on the American Classic I invited Waylon Payne to record with me. Of course, a lot of people I guess don't know him, or maybe do know, that Waylon Payne's mother is Sammy Smith, and his dad was Jody Payne, who played guitar for Willie Nelson for like 35 years. And when I was opening some shows with Willie, Jody was recording an album, and he was recording "Old Flames Can't Hold a Candle," and he'd asked me to sing it on the show with him. So many nights I'd look across the microphone at Jody when we were singing that, and it's so nostalgic, if you would, for me to look across the mic sometimes at Waylon Payne.
Oh, yeah.
And my mind goes back several years, and that's one of my favorite cuts on the American Classic album as well.
Downtown tonight, I saw an old friend, someone
Ooh. I used to take comfort from long before I met you. I caught a spark in his eye of forgotten desire, and with a word or a touch I could have rekindled the fire. Old flames can't hold a candle to you. There ain't no one can light up the night like you do. Flickering embers of love, I've known 102. Oh, but old flames can't hold a candle to you. There are sometimes at night I think of old lovers I've known, and I remember how holding them helped me not feel so alone. And then I feel you beside me, and even their memories gone. Like stars in the night, lost in the sweet light of dawn. Oh, but old flames can't hold a candle to you. There ain't no one can light up the night like you do. Flickering embers of love, I've known 102. Oh, but old flames can't hold a candle to you. Old flames can't hold a candle to you.
And that's such a great album, folks. You can listen to our feature interview that we did on that on our YouTube channel, and we'll put that link on our Facebook page as we did the entire album. It was great, and I hope you'll get a copy of that. It's JeannieSeeley.com is Jeannie's website, and this new album together again, CountryRewindRecords.com. There it is. We got it.
Yeah. Any of the folks that were Jack Greene, Jeannie Seeley fans and came to our shows, I just have to say, if you haven't picked this up, you will relive some of the moments, because, like you say, that's a good wrap of what we did on our shows.
I think it's a great introduction. If I were going to introduce someone to both of your music at the same time, I would just hand them this and say, listen to this. This is it right here.
That's great, Scott. Thank you.
Well, Jeannie, what else is coming up for you this year?
Oh, well, I've been concentrating on writing a little bit more. I think I'm going to... Travel is getting more difficult out there. The joy of traveling is kind of missing anymore. Everything, trying to stay safe and everything. And I think one of the things the pandemic did for me is show me how much I enjoy being home.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to do a few things with some people that I like, and I've got a couple of things coming up with Mo Bandy, and, just a few enjoy being around and make it easy for me. But other than that, I think I'm going to hang close and do the Opry and concentrate a little bit more on writing. And we're starting to think about writing my book. Oh. And I've got another little book project that I think will be fun that I'm starting to think about making notes on. So, yeah, I got a lot of things going here and spend as much time as I can doing my Willie's Roadhouse show. I love what I'm doing, so I don't want to change much of anything. I love hanging with Rhonda Vincent whenever she comes flying in and out of town. And I told her she was leaving on the road a long bus trip. I talked to her. I said, well, just tell me about it. I don't want to do that anymore. Just come home and tell me the fun part.
She absolutely loves what she's doing.
Yes, she does. And Herb, on the other hand, loves what he's doing, which is playing golf and fishing. They're so fun. The secret to that happy marriage is you do what you like to do, and I'll do what I like to do.
There you
They're
go.
so fun to be together, too. I enjoy them. That's been a real gift to me to spend more time with her. And like I said, some of the new things I'm writing, I keep hearing Rhonda singing them, so we got to get together on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, keep me posted here at My Kind of Country. You know I'm always ready to play any new music you got coming down the pike. We'll get it out there for you.
Well, we sure do appreciate you, Scott. I know all of us do, and we send our best to you to stay well and stay happy.
You too, and give our best to Jeannie, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the Grand Ole Opry and hearing you on Sirius XM every Sunday with Sundays with Seeley. And we're going to play some more great songs from this beautiful project together again, Jeannie Seeley and Jack Greene. And it's available, folks, at countryrewindrecords.com. And, of course, Jeannie's website is jeannieseeley.com. You can get all of her great music there. And Jeannie, as always, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love our conversations, and I'm very touched that you took time to be on my show today.
Thanks so much, and thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks for hanging with us in this long career. I never thought I'd still be here, but we sure appreciate it.
And we're so glad you are. Here's some more great music from Jack Greene and Jeannie Seeley as we continue with My Kind of Country.
All the time, yes, darling, all the time, tenderly, constantly, I love you. Every day I'll prove it every way. In happiness or in loneliness, I love you. Other arms may tempt me, but don't let that bother you. For even if they tempt me, I'll never be untrue. All the time, yes, darling, all the time. Through the years, through smiles or tears, I love you.
Take the ribbons from my hair, shake it loose and let it fall. Lay it soft against your skin, like the shadows on the wall. come and lay down by my side till the early morning light. All I'm taking is your time. Help me make it through the night. I don't care what's right or wrong. I don't want to understand. Let the devil take tomorrow. For tonight I made a friend. Yesterday is dead and gone, and tomorrow's out of sight, and it's sad to be alone. Oh, help me make it through the night. I don't care what's right or wrong. I don't want to understand. But let the devil take tomorrow. For tonight I need a friend. Yesterday is dead and gone, and tomorrow's out of sight. Lord, it's sad when you're alone. Help me make it through the night. I can't stand to be alone. Help me make it through the
I hear footsteps slowly walking as they gently walk across a lonely floor, and the voice is softly saying, darling, this will be goodbye forevermore. There goes my reason for living. There goes the one of my dreams. There goes my only possession. There goes my everything. As my memory turns back the pages, I can see the happy years we had before, and now the love that kept us old heart beating has been shattered by the closing of a door. There goes my reason for living. There goes the one of my dreams. There goes my only possession. There goes my everything.
Your hand is like a torch each time you touch me. The look in your eye pulls me apart. Don't open the door to heaven if I can't come in. Don't touch me if you don't love me, sweetheart. Don't give me something, oh, that you might take away. To have you, then lose you, wouldn't be smart on my part. Don't open the door to heaven if I can't come in. Don't touch me if you don't love me,